All right, let's get started. Thank you for joining. This is the fifth session for Splunk 101 series. Previously, we have gone through the basic concepts like Splunk architecture, various methods of onboarding the events in Splunk, some basic commands in Splunk, how you can visualize the data. We have touched that topic in a bit, but in this session, we'll go in depth for reports, dashboards, and the visualizations. So let's get started. So agenda for today, how do we save the search as a reports? How do we schedule the report? And how do we build the dashboards based on the reports as well as from the raw searches as well? So this session is not like a training or so where it's very well defined thing. This is more of a community session where we'll have a discussion and we'll go through different topics on the fly. So let's start with saving the reports. And before that, let me just run one of the search. So I have this Splunk Cloud stack, one of the test stacks that we use as a part of the Splunk Trust team. And I'm just looking over some of the internal stats. So let's do one thing. We'll use the internal index or the audit index as a part of this session to create the reports and the dashboards. So we will go index equal to underscore internal for last 30 minutes. We will pick few of the fields, play around with the searches and have that scheduled as well as a report and the dashboard. So if we see there are a bunch of source types, let's imagine a dashboard where we want to have mm, the number of events by source type as a pie chart. Uh, then let's say how many event types are being ingested, what are the groups for each and every event, usually what's the average line count for the same, and how many Splunk servers, that is the indexers, are there sending the events. So we'll first create a normal search. Let's say we want to get alerted if the line count for any of the event exceeds 15, because usually for the internal events it's either one liner or a couple of lines of events altogether. So what we'll do is we will first filter out based on the line count, how many events are there per each line count, and just filter out the ones which are more than 15. So from the previous sessions, you would have gone through stats count by and table and chart and all of the commands. What we'll use is stats count by line count. So if you see in last 30 minutes, we have 12 unique values for the line count. And as I was mentioning, most of the events would fall under either one liner event or a couple of lines of events. If you actually want to see one of the events, let me show you underscore raw as latest event by line count. So if you uh, see, this is the one line event which are there almost more than a million. These are two lines of event where this is one and this is the second line. Similarly, there are three, four, five, and so on. Now we want to uh, imagine this is some Java logs or some custom application logs where typically you would expect the events into a few lines only, unless there is any exception or any major event. So, an imaginary use case where you want to have an alert if the line count goes more than 15. So let's say you would understand that, say this is an error altogether. Most of the, per usual practice of the logging, if it is if it is exceeding, let's say 10 or 15 line count, usually that's an error. So what we'll do is we'll say search, we'll say count as number of events, and we'll say over here rather we should filter where line count is greater than 15. So why I specifically mentioned that over here and not here, let me give you an example. Even if I mention that over here, the results would be same. So let's say if you see there are four events only for line count 31, 20, 21, and 15. Sorry, 25, which all four are greater than 15. This is still giving us the results. Rather, we should have this okay, sorry, I have mentioned that on both the side. Let me remove first. Yeah. Now, if you see, we still have the same amount of results, and we can have this filter in the first line of the event as well. So if you remove this, this will give you the similar results, right? So why we filter over here in the first line and not after the stats like this? That is because of we are using the search best practices. That means that we want to filter out the events as soon as possible. So if you look over this search, it looks over the events from the internal index, then it performs some statistics. It gives you the latest event through latest of underscore raw. It gives you the count as number of event by line count, and then you can filter out where or search line count greater than 15. You can do this, it will still work. A normal admin or someone who is pretty new in Splunk would directly just type this and schedule this one. However, the best practice is, if you want to filter out this, and if you're not doing any calculation for the line count, why not to put down before the statistics? So what happens is, assume, let me comment this out. If we are running this, it performs the statistical actions on all of the million events altogether. Whereas if we just filter out this, like mentioning the line count greater than 15, it is filtering the events first, and only on those 26 events, it perform the statistical action. So even though this session is more focused on the schedule searches or reports, this is something I would want to touch, because when you say you are scheduling the search to run every 2 minutes or every 5 minutes, that means that it is going to consume almost the same amount of CPU utilization that requires to run this search. So imagine you are running one search every minute. That means that it would run, how many minutes are there in day? So it will run around 1440 times, and it will scan and perform this statistical operations on 1 million events. Versus you are just putting the line count over here, it will reduce all of the scheduled searches, CPU utilization for all of the thousand scheduled searches a day. So make sure before you schedule any report or before you schedule any search, make sure that the search is optimized as well. All right, so we got the results. Now we want to run this on a schedule basis. So there are two ways really you can have this as schedule searches. One is you can go to settings, you go to searches, reports and alerts over here, and you create a new alert and you provide the name, right? So this is one of the way, and you provide the other details. The other way is if you have the search ready from the console itself, and if it is from the same app that you want to have the search from, what you do is you just click on save as, and you can just hit alert. So this will also give you a similar console. where the search field is not there because you have already provided the search. So let's name the search as line count greater than 15 in internal index. We'll provide the basic description as alerts when the number of lines in the events are greater than 15. For now, I'm just keeping it into private. Also, that's one of the best practice when you are performing something as a test. You just keep it to yourself, and once that's ready, you can have that available in the app. And of course, if you're a user, you may have a limited permission, so you might want to request your Splunk admin to have that promoted so that all of the users from that app is able to view the schedule search and update if required. So for now we are just going with private as a permission, the alert type as schedule. We are providing the schedule as it runs every week, which is default. Now there are few options over here: run every hour, day, week, month. And this aligns with some of the requirements from the users or the executives at times. So for example, someone may ask that every month on the first Monday you want to run some report from the Splunk and get the results into email also. So that's also possible, let's say every month, every day, or whatsoever you decide. And you can even provide the day. For example, if you're saying every week, it will ask you that on which day you want to run the same. The best way is you run on the cron schedule, and you provide the time range as well. So if you wanna say that, hey, you run this every 5 minutes, so this is */5 and ***. What it will do is it will run this search every 5 minutes for last 30 minutes worth of data. Now there are a few things. One, how do you define the time range? The easiest way, of course, is to provide the time range from here, but you can also provide in the search as well with the earliest and latest fields. So, and if you are providing that, this would not matter. The time from the search itself will take the higher precedence. So always remember that if you are providing earliest, latest in the search itself, even the time range picker, or if it is schedule search or the report, whatever you select in the time range will not matter because the highest priority would be from the search fields itself. All right, let's go next. You'll say that it expires in 24 hours. So for once the run search, once each and every search runs every 5 minutes, you'll have the results available in your environment for next 24 hours. So if you want to perform some audit, or if some user complains that the condition trigger was true and we have not received the alerts altogether. So if you want to troubleshoot such cases, you can define that once the alert runs, for how much time you want the events or the results to be saved in your Splunk. So we'll just keep that as a default right now. It expires in the 24 hours. Next is the trigger condition. You can provide when do you want to trigger the alert. More often than not, users will just keep it based on the number of results. So, and by default, you want to have an alert if the number of results are greater than zero. That means that if even if there is one row of event or one line of event, you still want the results altogether. So if you keep, if the number of results as a part of this search is greater than zero, then you want the alert to be triggered. Now you can select the other options as well, that the number of hosts are this many or the sources is this many, or provide some custom conditions, which we are not going through as of now in this basics 101 session. All right, so we'll say if the number of results are greater than zero, we want the alert. Now you have some requirements where you only want to get alerted when the the row of results or the number of results are greater than 10 or 15. So either you can update the search where you calculate the number of lines or the results, and then go ahead with this default conditions. Or what you can do is you can still produce all the results in the search, and while scheduling you say that if the number of results are more than 5 or 10, then only you provide me with the alerts. And how do you want to get triggered? Once versus for each results. That means that if imagine, let me duplicate this one so the results are better visualized. So imagine for this scenario, there are four unique rows over here, which gives you the latest row of the event for each line count value. Now, when you say that you trigger the alert into once only, that means that even though there are 10 rows or 1,000 rows or whatsoever, it will just give you one email or one ticket or whatsoever you define in the trigger action. And what you can also do is you trigger for each results. Now, this is also important. Let's say you have one use case where it produces the unique usernames of the environment, and you might want to take some actions for each and every usernames later on. So you have an integration where you write some scheduled searches, whatever users are there, you want a unique Jira request to be created or a ServiceNow ticket to be created. So what you do is instead of just once, you can have a trigger for each result. So for now, again, we are just going with the default condition, which is once. Now, going to throttle. This is very interesting concept and can be very useful as well. The concept of throttling. Imagine a scenario where you're looking for last 30 minutes of data or last 1 hour of data, and you're running that search every 5 minutes. What will happen is if there is any results as a part of last 5 minutes, you'll actually get the notification for that error 6 times. So for example, I'm I'm running search every 5 minutes, looking over last 30 minutes of events. Now, what will happen is if I'm running something, let's say at 12 o'clock or 12:01, one true positive condition was there. So let's say you got some error or so. So when a search runs at 12:05, when a search runs at 12:10, and so on until 12:30, since it runs every 5 minutes, that means that we are running at 12:05, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. It looks over the data for last 30 minutes of events. So when this runs at 12:05, it will look over the events from 11:35 to 12:35. Then when this runs, it looks over the events from 11:40 to 12:10, all the last 30 minutes of events. Now this particular event will fall under all of these cases, because when this looks for last 30 minutes, this error would be there. And in the next run, the error would still be there because it is overlapping the time in terms of the scheduling. That's where the concept of throttling comes into the picture, where you can say that, hey, once I get the alert at 12:05, don't notify me for the same alerts for XYZ time. And that is again configurable. So what I'm really saying is that once you see an error event at 12:01 and once you notify me at 12:05, even if the consecutive uh, runs have this condition in place or some true positive in case, do not run the alert actions or do not notify me. That's where you say that for next 60 minutes you can ignore the results. Now again, you can provide this in seconds, minutes, hour of day. So I can just say that once this alert is there for next 30 minutes, just throttle this one. That means that do not notify for next 30 minutes even if the condition is true. This is particularly helpful in the test or the pre-prod environment as well, where you can have some dummy events, and you can have the true positives or the true alert conditions as well, and you don't want to get notified every time. So that's where the throttling comes into the picture. All right. Next up is the trigger action for the alerts. This again depends on some of the trigger actions or the alert actions are out of the box by Splunk. For example, add to a trigger alerts, or send an email altogether, or update the lookup, or send some events through HEC, or you can trigger a webhook as well if your custom application supports that, or a login event. So you might want to update some other index based on the results of this event as well. So that's where the alert actions comes into the picture. Okay, so we are just saying that for now, add the alert into the trigger action with the severity as high. All right. So this is the basics of alert or a schedule searches, where you first define all of your condition, you optimize the search, and you then run this or save this rather as an alert. Let me just click on save. Okay, and now I can view the alert as well. All right, now this will run every 5 minutes, and it will look over the last 30 minutes worth of data. And if there are any events, it will just add that into the trigger alerts. Awesome. So that's more or less for the alerts. Let's proceed with the report. Report is something, you want to calculate multiple things, you want to visualize multiple things, and you you want to get that, let's say, every morning. You want a report every morning that this many events are there, or this many source types have this many events over there. So you can visualize multiple graphs, or you can provide some raw data as well, or something in the tabular format as well in the report. What we'll do as a part of this session is, based on the internal events, we'll create some searches and have that available in the report, and then we'll schedule the report. So let me just remove all the condition as of now. Okay, first and foremost, we want to see how many source types are there. So I can do stats count by source type. Yeah, there you see. Now, the important part of the scheduling report is the visualization as well. You want to visualize, just this number of 71 rows altogether may not just make sense to anyone altogether. Rather, if you go to visualization tab, by default, you will see some column chart. Now, if you see, for this type of visualization where I want to see the events per source type, this is also not the best, because if you see in this screen, I cannot even view the source type as well. So what I would rather do is you update the visualization type as bar chart, for example. Now you can better understand that, hey, most of the events in the internal index are from Splunk D only, followed by Splunk D underscore access and Splunk underscore Python, and so on. So this is for the better visualization. Now, what I would do is I would add this as a part of the report. So I'll go and save this as a report. Uh, we'll provide the title as so events by source type. uh, Event by source type. I just want to view the pie chart. There are multiple options available. Do you want to visualize the pie chart as well as the table, or just the pie chart, or only the table? How do you want to present the events into the report? And the second option, or the customized thing available, is, do you want to have a time range picker also available in the report? or you want to just go with the normal one. For now, let's have the time range picker available in the report. We'll hit save and you can view the report. Okay, so this is what we call report. This is how it looks like, where you do not see the underlying searches all together, but you still visualize the events. And if you update this, let's say last 60 minutes, it will update the data or the visualization as well. Now, let's have multiple panels available. So if I just duplicate this and view some of the other events quickly, let's see what other type of events we have. Okay, this is something interesting. The log level. You want to visualize how many errors are there versus warning versus info log level is available. So I would just say, okay, let me refresh this. Yeah, I'll just say stats count by log. Again, this would be by bar chart only, which is already there. Sorry, a pie chart only, which is already there, but you can still go with the other as well. So let me just add this in the report. So if I just do, let's say, save as again a report only. That's by log label. I'm just creating a couple of reports for us to visualize. All right. So I have provided now in this report. I have provided the pie chart as well as the number of events as well. Now, what I want to do is every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, I want to run this report. So what I would do is edit schedule and a very important thing when you are scheduling the report, the time picker option will not be available, because now you're saying that, hey, run this thing on a schedule basis. That means that it requires to be run on a particular time range only. So I would say edit the schedule. I would say schedule the report, run every day at 9 o'clock, run it for last 24 hours. The priority. So the priority is something, if there are multiple searches to run. Let's say there are 5 alerts, 2 reports to be run by Splunk on the parallel basis. What should be the priority of this one? So you can say that if this is very important, you can say highest. So if there are 7 parallel searches that Splunk has to decide which one to pick first, this one will be picked based on the priority. In the schedule window, we are just saying that auto as of now. And I want to get an email as well for this one. So I would say send an email to my email ID and hit save. And you now see, there are no results because the first scheduled run of the report is yet to complete. Now when you see this report tomorrow after 9 o'clock, once this run at least once, that's where you will see the events now. Until then, you'll not be able to see the events because it is yet to run its first scheduled run as well. So yeah. And the beauty of scheduling the report or the accelerating the report is, if there is some search which looks for long range of data. Let's say I'm running some search which looks for last 30 or last 60 days of data. You do not want all of your users to run the same search again and again when they open the report. So let's say there is one report which says that how many accounts were locked out in last 60 days from AD. Now that information is going to be the same regardless of the type of the user. That means that if I'm running that report versus if you're running the report with the same role or the same access to the index, it is going to give the same same amount of results. However, the CPU consumption or the resource consumption for all of the searches or something, if I am running versus you're running, is going to be high because you are actually looking for the AD events for last 60 days. Similar case to any of the network event or firewall events or something. And you want to prevent such use cases. What you do in that case is you schedule the report or you accelerate the report. By acceleration, what it will do is it will run at the scheduled time, and whenever someone opens that report, it will give them a predefined results. So then, even if I'm opening that report for 100 times, it is not going to compute or run that specific search 100 times. Rather, it will just pick the latest set of results from the last run. And that's the beauty of reports. Most of the customers or the users in Splunk I have seen are either having a good knowledge in the alert or utilize good amount of Splunk things into alerts and the dashboards only. There are very few who utilize the report in a better way. But this is also good because when you load a dashboard, it literally runs 10, 15, 20, whatsoever panels of search you have defined over there. Whereas in the report, the single search or whatever visualization that you have, it gets the data. Of course, if you have accelerated that one, it gets the data from the last run only, irrespective of the time of the opening. So even if you open 100 times, 200 times, or just once, it is always going to fetch the data from the latest report. Now, a good part of report is also this can act as the base for the dashboards as well. So imagine there is one dashboard panel where it says, let's continue with the same example. The dashboard panel says that account logged out in last 60 days. Now, if you have that in the dashboard, every time a user loads that dashboard, it will start running that search for last 60 days altogether. Rather, what you should do is you create a report of that how many users were logged out, and you embed that report search in the dashboard. That means that all you have to do is click on add to dashboard. You select either new or the existing dashboard and have this visualization or the table or whatsoever you have provided in the report available as a part of the dashboard as well. Again, this is good mix and match approach where some of the searches in the dashboard you are running as soon as a user loads the dashboard to get the latest and greatest events, and some of the searches which might require a lot of power or the resources, you are relying on a scheduled report to provide the result upon. So I can, for example, create a new dashboard that says, let's create a dashboard from here only. Splunk internal index. I'll keep that as a private and we'll just select this as a classic dashboard only. And this panel title would be events by log underscore level. Save this to a dashboard. Now, if you see, since I scheduled this as a report first and then as a dashboard panel, what it directly took was, you see, instead of the search option, you see the view report option. Let me add one of the panel for, again, a pie chart only. Let's say for the source type. And you say Now, if you see the difference between both of this panel of the dashboard, when you go to edit, you can see one gives you the power where you can edit the search of the dashboard on the fly, all the time range and refresh delay and everything. Versus over here, since this is imported from the report, you do not have capability to edit the search directly. If you want to really edit the search, you will have to go to the reports, which is this, and then edit the search. So if you see view report, it will give you the additional detail or the meta detail for that report, but will not be able to update the underlying search altogether, right? So I'm just hitting the save button. All right, now going back to the visualization again. Until this, is everything clear from everyone? Any questions? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to visualization. Now we'll just play around with a few visualization options available. So let's start from the first, which is the line chart. This is usually used when you want to represent the things into time. So for example, if I want to visualize how many events were there in the internal index, let's say T stats count where index equal to star by underscore times prime equal to 1 hour. I want to visualize that every single hour in last 7 days, how many events were there. So I'll just go to line chart like this. You see, you have one straight line. Now this is very basic or good because it's from the actual indexes and the amount of events are predictable. But if you see something like AD events or the firewall events, you would usually see a pattern in the time that during the working hours between 10 to 7 or so, there are a lot of activities versus during the night hours, there will be less amount of activities. And this, this type of visualization, especially the line chart, can be good in order to, get the spikes over there. So let's say if you're monitoring some CPU utilization and you want to see for last 7 days or the 30 days, the exact time of the or the hour of the spikes every single day in order to find some pattern that, hey, every day around 6 o'clock in the morning, the CPU spikes. If you want to see some, a pattern, the line chart is the one you want to get the visualization into. So that's the first and foremost. Of course, there are so many options available as a part of that as well, which we are not covering as a part of this session. Let me quickly give you a background of what Trellis is. So if I'm further drilling down, for now I just kept that as a time. So if you see on the y-axis, you have the number of events versus on the x-axis, you can see the time. But if you want to further break down, let's say by source type, how many events were there. So what I would do is by source type and time. And then I'll do time chart span equal to 1 hour by source type. Oh, this should actually work. Time chart sum of count. Sorry. Yeah. Now, if you see, you go out a matrix where on the first column you have the underscore time, and for the other columns you have the name of the source types. Now, if you go to visualization, you will see number of rows over here, an individual row or the unique row for a unique source type. Now, if someone sees this graph, there is nothing literally we can visualize except to note that, hey, there are highest number of events in this Splunk source type, versus there are few in the other source types altogether, right? So that's where the trellis comes into the picture. So let me visualize in this fashion. Let me update the dashboard. I'm creating a new panel with a line chart, and it runs for last 24 hours, and I'm adding it to the dashboard. All right. If you see, this is what we are seeing, where I cannot even visualize the number over here, because since the first one was more than a million event and the rest of the less than 300k events or so, we cannot visualize the actual numbers for this graph is literally just the flat line. That's where something called as trellis comes into the picture. So if I hit trellis, what it will do is it will create the unique graphs for all of the source types. So as soon as I click trellis, use trellis layout, split by the source type. I want to have this in the small, medium, or the large format. Let's use the medium as of now. And the scale, which is very much important. If you see right now, the scale for all of the graph is same, from 1 million to 3 million events. However, our events are something unique, where only one is going above a million and rest are between few thousands only. So what I would say to Splunk is, hey, you should have the scale as independent for each of the source type. So if I click on independent, this is the better visualization, like this. Let me edit this same, or let me add the same search over here so you understand the difference. You see, this is without trellis, where you can really not see anything. And this is with trellis layout for individual source types. You can see that even if the events are falling into 50,000 to 200,000, that's where it will dynamically update the y-axis numbers like this. And this is much better to visualize as well. So trellis is, of course, one of the important thing you want to remember for the dashboards. Next up for the visualization is area chart, where again, something on the spike. If you want to visualize, that's where you go like this. Then the column chart. Now if you see, I can zoom this one. If you see these columns, you actually can't view much of the things if it's zoomed out. What we can do is you can have the format being updated, and instead of the not stacked option, what we can use is the stacked one. So now you can really see that most of the space is covered by the Splunk D events only, followed by the other ones like this. You might have seen these dashboards as a part of monitoring console as well, by the way, especially on the CPU utilization or the memory utilization dashboards over here, or IO and so on. So that's where if you want to visualize that out of 100 or out of 200, what's the bifurcation of the things. So let's say you have a bucket of 100 results, and you want to visualize that which one is taking most. That's where the column chart with the stacked option comes into the picture. Awesome. Next is bar chart, similar to column one, but on the other side, flip side, you can see uh, pie chart, where you this is so line chart, column chart, and pie chart is what I've seen most of the customer using 90% of the time. So yeah, usually you'll play around with this first row of the visualization types only. There are other options available like this, but it requires a little bit of more data. Sankey is also one of the famous visualization type. Usually you would have seen some of the you know uh, good graphs where you can see that, hey, there were 100 users over here, and out of 100, 50 users added the product into the cart, out of which 10 users went to the final checkout page, and 2 users actually ordered. So that's where the Sankey visualization comes into the picture, where you have multiple data source along with a journey as well, and the filters. So a lot to play, I would say, in terms of visualization. And there are few more. Let's say the single value is also one of the famous one, where let's say I would just uh, want to view the number of events like this. So just the single one, and again you have the option to have this formatted as well. So a custom condition or a static condition where you want to have the range of colors. So let's say it can be the number of alerts more than 50, or it can be the CPU utilization more than 90 percentage, and so on. So you can provide your custom range over here, or you can select the trend as well. So if it is going higher, you can say it's, let's say, if the number of alerts are raising from 10 to 15 and 15 to 20, you want that color to be red. Versus if it is increasing in last 4 hours, you can have the color as green as well. So you can use the colors as well as static values as well as the trend as well. Right now the trend option is not available as a part of this search, is because there is nothing to compare. There are no two values or three values to compare and to visualize the trend from. That's where the only option available right now is just the values. And what we have defined is from whatever to 0, you keep that as green, then 0 to 100 as orange, and more than 100, you just use red. And I can have this as, let's say, a million, for example. Right now, since this falls under 0 to million, it now automatically got converted into orange. The color mode as well is a nice option to have, where you can have a blocked background versus a no background. So if you just select this one, the orange would be there in the back, followed by white as the actual font. This would look nice if whenever you just plug this into the dashboard. And especially the C-suite level or the executive levels or the manager levels are very fascinated with such colors and trends and everything, because it gives a clear picture when you showcase that, hey, the CPU is 70 to 90 with the orange, and if it is more than 90, you show it as red. It actually gives you a result or a feel even before looking over the actual events or the results. So of course, dashboard again is not just writing bunch of search and selecting any random visualizations and have that available as a part of the dashboard. It's more about optimizing the search, because whenever someone loads the dashboard, those searches will be running on a parallel basis. Let's say if you have a dashboard with 20 searches, it will actually consume a user's quota as well. So it's more, dashboard is more about optimized searches and better visualization, to the point colors as well. I've seen people spending lots and lots of time just for the dashboard, because it might be it might be a thing where there are 20 users using that every single day or every single hour, or those dashboards are visualized on the TV screens on the SOC team or the SOC room as well. So just as a start, you should consider writing some searches and having that available in the dashboard. But once you have the basic idea of the same, you should also focus on better visualizations as well, because at the end, there are going to be a users. If you're a Splunk admin helping some users, you might just create a dashboard once and leave. But for the users, they might be using it every single hour or a day. So it's a recurring impact as well on them, and that's where you should focus more on the visualizations as well. All right. So this dashboard that we just created again was in the classic template or the XML dashboard that we usually say. The other type of the dashboard, which is there since last 4 years or more, is the dashboard based on the dashboard studio. So if you see this dashboard, if I go to edit and see the source, it is based on the XML format. And the other one, which is the dashboard studio, more appealing dashboards, and you have an option for the absolute layout versus grid layout as well. uh, those are the one where you can have your own images or own type of visualizations, your maps as well, available in the dashboard studio. uh, I'm not covering this since we are running short of time as well, but I would suggest, if you want to start, use this one, the XML dashboards as a start, the classic dashboards, and once you have some grip, you can move to the dashboard studio and play around. And one of the apps I would suggest for the dashboard is Splunk dashboard examples as well. I recommend everyone to have this if you're starting up with the dashboard. It has predefined dashboard panels along with the searches and lookups and everything, and the visualizations. So let's say if you want to, if you just want to have the basic single value element versus something in the map that you want to create, that's where you can just click on those elements, view the events from here. Again, this would be either from the internal events or from the predefined static lookups as well, and it will give you the dashboard in the XML format as well. So you can consider this as a base for the learning and take it from there. So this, for example, is for the single value. You might observe that there are no decorations versus with the trend indicator, where it gets the previous value as well as the latest value, and it shows you the trend. That means that it is going low from the previous number. With a spark line, so if you see the line like this, it will give you a feeling of a time chart, or a visualization where it shows something in the time format. So you can see with the spark line along with the trend indicator as well. So you see these two are the indicators for the trend. So you can actually visualize how it's going. Sparkline trend indicator along with the drill down. So if I click over here, it will even open either a search or whatever drill down action that you have configured for. All right, so that's on the single value. Again, one of the option available in the dashboard example is, let's say, the panels based on the map. So you want to showcase that how many users are logging in from which country. That's where a map like this comes handy. And this is where you might want to take some screenshots and share it to someone else with the better visualizations as well. So Splunk dashboard examples is a good app you would want to start with to learn more about the dashboards. All right, I think we did not went through the PPT, but that's trust me, that's something I was presenting or focusing more as a dashboard. We are running on time. Thank you for joining. Any questions from anyone?
No myth. It's a looks very good demo for the basics for the reporting and dashboarding. So it's definitely useful for the all the new folks coming to our community and
Yep.
Splunk. Thanks, me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. It might look very basic, like if you're into Splunk for, let's say, 4, 5, 10 years, this is very, very basic, but at least it would be good. I want to cover more as well. Probably I'll schedule another session as well, because there are so many things like drill downs in the dashboard, tokens in the dashboard, the inputs as well, the tags versus radio button and time and everything. So we'll schedule another session as well as a part of this dashboards and visualizations. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thanks. Amy.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you next Friday at the same time for the session on alerts, data inputs, and forwarders. Awesome. Thank you everyone. Have a good one.